And welcome back to another podcast episode. Here we have yet again a guest on the show, which is Cesar from Symphony Advertising.
Hello.
This is called Business Talk, where, again, it's been a while since I last uploaded a Business Talk episode. But typically, on a daily basis, Cesar and I just talk randomly at times, messenger, over the phone, text, just business in the hallway. So it just made sense, like, hey, we might as well just get on this podcast together and just talk, because we essentially do the same conversation, just not on a podcast. Like, we had the exact same conversations, exact same topics, exact same questions come about. Just we're like, hey, we might as well just sit down together and talk. So we're gonna go through a few questions, some of our favorite books for business and some of our favorite movies for business, and then we're gonna go into some more business. Now, remember, with this business talk, it's more, you can 100% apply it to detailing. But since he has a marketing agency, web agency, and I talk to a bunch of detailers, it's a more of a high-level overview of any industry that's in the service-based business. So although I'm not saying detailers, detailing business, this is 100% applicable to detailing, but we do talk and interact with a lot of non-detailing businesses that are still local-based, so this is 100% applicable to you.
Yeah, I ask you questions about, like, hey, what do you think we should do for X client?
Yeah.
We'll brainstorm on other industries as well.
Yeah,
so
it's 100%. And if you hear any dog breathing, we have a dog right underneath us right now, so hopefully it's not getting picked up too much by the audio.
Shout out Luna.
Where's she at? Luna, give me 1 second. Let me
Hanging
see.
out.
Let me see. Here, but she's right there. Let me do this real quick. Get some technical difficulties right here. Give me 1 second, everyone. Let me tighten this up real quick. There we go. Okay, so we are good to go. Sorry for that. Just jerked your ear right now. Pause. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with some light questions here. Cesar, I'll ask you and then I'll answer it.
I like it.
So here is, now real quick to preface this question is that, like, it's not like, anyway, we'll just go straight into it. So what's one of your favorite business movies or shows? However you want to answer that.
Cool. Great question. So I looked up a couple, because off rip, if I had to, like, guess, my first answer to, like, what movie I like, it doesn't even make sense, because business-wise, I like La La Land. But the reason I like La La Land, it's not a business movie, but the reason I like La La Land, it's because it's about taking a risk. And so when it comes to, like, when I see movies and they're not even related to business, I feel like I can still relate to my life, just because the people in La La Land are taking a giant risk. They're committing everything to this dream they have, and they're going for it. They're like, screw it, I'm going to be a waiter full-time when I can. I'm going to audition, and I'm going to shoot my shot. And then it's also a tragedy, because most people who shoot their shot die. Not literally, but they lose. They don't get to their goal. And then that one person who does get their goal, it's like, damn, like, they followed their dreams. I want to follow mine.
Right.
And so that was, like, my first one, but I brainstormed real quick, like, which are the ones I like that are actually businessy. So for me, I feel like it's obvious, Wolf on Wall Street. Does anyone else? I feel like that's, like, one of the most, like, obvious. Who hasn't seen it? If you're 20 to 25-year-old, like, in corporate world, I feel like you've seen it and watched it and, like, know everything about it. And it's a good movie by itself. But I mean, the reason I like that movie is just because it's just, like, overly ambitious.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's that the message, the story itself is like you're tricking people, kind of, right? That's like you're not doing it the right way.
One would say not kind of, but almost 100%.
Well, yeah, you went to
frauding people.
Yeah, you went to jail and stuff. But, like, what I take from it is, like, that dude is hungry. That dude is ambitious. That dude thought of a way to scale his company. And I'm like, damn, that's motivating. But that's the kind of motivation that makes you, like, it just comes and goes. Like, it's very like, oh my God, what a life, all this money. And but it doesn't, like, keep you, it's not a consistent one. It's just like when you watch it, you're like, oh yeah.
Okay.
Get me hype.
Yeah. What else you got on there?
And then Moneyball, I think that's one of your favorites, so I'm going to let you talk about it. The Big Short. Absolutely. So the reason I like The Big Short so much, it's about the housing crisis, is because whenever I saw that movie in theaters, I texted my girlfriend, I don't know at the time, I don't know when it came out, and I was like, dude, we can't rely on nobody. Like, we got to make our own bread, and we got to, like, take care of ourselves, because no one's going to give it to us. Just because the way I saw, like, it's all like a scam. if you look at the movie and then you like think afterwards, that's what I got out of it. And lastly, the one I have on here is Scarface. So Scarface is
really?
Scarface is it's a gangster movie, but again, it's a guy who comes from nothing and who's like, F that, I'm taking mine. Like I want it. I'm gonna go get it. I'm like, damn, that's obviously the cocaine and the guns and all that. No, but somebody like me I see it as inspiration. And so when I see that, I'm like, okay, obviously, I don't think that's a true movie, but those are like the initial ones that came up. Like, okay, what movies like stay with me?
Oh, really?
Those, yeah.
Yeah. And real quick, if you hear some like a airplane moving in the background, there's a shop next to us and they're dyno tuning some cars right now.
What is that?
Yeah, so hopefully our voice overshadows that tuning. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Which one was the? Yeah, I guess going back to your point, because I remember I was watching Narcos, and obviously we don't condone any drugs, violence, or anything like that. But it was interesting where it's like the same bringing of like of anyone, cartel, mafia, like any crime organization. Like I'm saying, like as far as like extrapolating, like I inspiration or motivation, like damn, like if drug dealers like nah, might as well just grow it big. Yeah, it just goes to show like your impact in whatever you do, crime or in the most ethical way of doing things. It's like you just keep on pushing to grow bigger. Like that. Yeah, that's when I was watching Narcos.
If anything, they push it past just business. They want to be the dog. Like they want to. They're talking about like it's too
like taking
much.
over the world.
Like,
but even watching Narcos, I was like, oh dang, there is some like I guess that's what makes like the big dogs. Like they just keep on like no matter what, just keep on growing.
Big decisions, hard decisions.
Yeah, so like, that's and so going back to my side, like almost any World War II movie does it for me.
Damn.
Because going back to that side of like making those tough decisions, like if you look at so I'll categorize World War II movies as one movie just because I can learn so much on leadership, on decision making, on grit to like push past a goal through adversary. Like any World War II movie, like any World War II movie or documentary or book, like it's very like dang, like that's 100% applicable to business. Like running a team of different individuals, of different backgrounds, of different cultures. Trying to accomplish one goal against many odds or obstacles or whatever the case may be. So anything World War II related is 100% business related to me.
And you see that a lot too, like not a lot, but you do find people who their background is military and then they become business people and they're like really good at it. Obviously there's another side that they're not good at it.
Yeah.
But that exists. Like there obviously is some element, probably the discipline part, probably the doing the hard stuff part. So there's crossover.
Yeah. So definitely that. And then specific books, movies, I would 100% say The Founder, which is the story of how McDonald's was started. And like many things in life, like there's a lot of like unethical, moral questions about how, what's his name?
Ray Kroc?
Ray Kroc took over and expanded McDonald's. But again, it goes back to like, for those that don't know, like Ray Kroc kind of took over and like kicked out the founders, and then he like monopolized and like just grew it to what it is. And it's like you miss over you kind of chew over the little guys, the ones that started it. But it goes back to like but like he was so ambitious, like it was gonna happen regardless. Like if it wasn't McDonald's, it would have been like that. He just had it in him.
And to add to that, he was like 55 at the time.
52, I think he was. Yeah.
So it's like it's not over. You could be 30, 40, 50, 60. Like the KFC guy, I think was like 64 when he started that. Like I see that and I'm like, oh, okay, I can mess up for another 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah.
And maybe hit it then. But it's like that's the kind of stuff that like makes you want to like, and then it makes you not want to be the McDonald's brother. Like
yeah.
You and it's everybody to their own, but I don't want to be the actual brothers that like
that didn't do anything with
we'll take $1 million each, and then Ray Kroc, McDonald's is still going. Like
yeah. So on that one, in that regard of like it goes to show between like the one that's ambitious, that's always pushing, that like it's like whatever I'm gonna get through it. Versus no, take your time. Hey, calm down. Like hey, no. Which again, it's a very ethical, moral dilemma of like, should you do that? But
it's choice.
Choice. But I do like the more so like I'm removing the negative side and looking at the ambition of like this one dude, 52, tried so many things, didn't get his foot on anything, but just kept on pushing and shoving until he found that one thing. And even on that one thing, it was just problem after problem. Like you're getting a bunch of restaurants open. Oh, I'm not making any money. Hey, can I renegotiate my deal? No, you can't. Oh, can you go? And it's just like, the marriage of problem. It's just like problem after problem
then,
after problem
yeah.
after problem in order to like keep on growing. Like it's just you just face problems all along. You're growing a business.
And it's cool too because you learn through watching that, like, okay, McDonald's sells burgers, right? But when you watch the movie, it turns out they're not a burger company. They're a real estate company because they, what is it, franchise all
They
these
buy the land and
they give it to the, something like that. But it's like, okay, that's another, like, that's like next level. Like, that's like superstar business stuff. Like, I didn't even think of that, but.
Yeah, so that one's that one. And then the next one is probably Moneyball, which the poster, you can't see it if you're watching this on the reel, but the YouTube, the Moneyball. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones just because it's more so of like, how do we compete against these, superstar teams that have the biggest budgets in the league?
Oh, what a marketing.
Yeah.
What a marketing crossover right there. Yeah. That is exactly what happens.
Yeah, so it's like, how do we compete when we have a payroll of, I think it was like 25 million, when the New York Yankees at the time have a payroll of like 105 million, or I'm sorry, 105 million, something crazy. And it's like, one, how do you acquire talent to compete against the big superstars? And then like, you have a lack of resources and training and staff and equipment and everything. And it's like you are just the underdog in every aspect.
And your current staff is all about the same thing. Like, they don't want to change anything. Like, how do you go in there and change the culture?
Yeah.
How do you go in there and change how people think and how the ideas work? And how do you sell them or convince them or show them that this new strategy is the way? All that.
Yeah. So and in many, like again, like in any movie that you watch, like you can take the good and the bad. Like, for instance, on that one, like I love them. I'll always put it on and play it and just watch it. But it's also like a great movie on like how not to be a leader. Like what's his name, the main guy, Billy Jean. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was like terrible leadership as far as like as far as the movie. The book's probably different, but as far as the movie, how he never like really talked to Art, which is the manager.
Coach?
Yeah. He never really talked to him. He never really explained what was going on. He was more like, hey, here's a new direction of the Oakland A's. You're with it or you're not. He wasn't like, hey, look, guys, we had this thing. Here's this guy. Like, so it shows both sides of like, like what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But yeah, that movie, I learned so much of like, and because it's based in reality, like it's 100% true of like, like how do you build a team? How do you build a staff?
And like for me on that movie too, like kind of like how stubbornness isn't always the best way to go, because he was so committed to the Oakland A's that he was offered like a really good position with Boston at the end of the movie, and he's like, no, I want to stay with the Oakland A's. And it turns out he never wins. Like he never actually gets the goal that he set out to get. He changed baseball, right? In the finance matter, like the way to look at it, Moneyball way. But if his goal was to win, he didn't hit it.
Yeah, no.
He didn't make it. I would have took the deal. I would have been like, well, in hindsight, but like that makes you like, okay, well, it's not always, sometimes you gotta jump to the next.
Yeah, for sure.
The next vehicle.
At some point, the ship is sinking where you can't save it no more. But yeah, I'd probably say like Moneyball and Founder. Again, like even with World War II stuff, like World War II is obviously bad, but like if you just try to find what you want to find, like as far as like what can you get out of it, what's the benefit, what's something good out of it, that's what I focus on. There's always good and bad in everything. So that's that. So the next question here that we have for both of us is, what's one of your favorite books that's helped you in your business?
Okay, same concept. So with books though, I do want to kind of like put a caveat on it. Is like I've been reading books like pretty hardcore for a while. And as I've gotten older and more into business, I actually read less because I find that I can't remember anything. So I think the idea of reading is the good thing. Like, okay, if you're constantly reading about business, you're constantly reading about marketing, human psychology, how to be fit, stuff like that shows that you're constantly feeding yourself. You want to improve. You want to learn. You want to find different ways to succeed or to be efficient. But I cannot remember any of it ever. So the ones I do remember, I have here. But I guess my point is like, I don't know, like the more you do, it's impossible to beat reading. Because I probably read 200 books and got like 1 XP out of it. And then when I actually go talk to customers and run marketing campaigns, I get like 100 XP on it. Until it's big enough, I feel. Like I read From Good to Great, which talks about like corporate level companies that were making 100 million and how did they get to $1 billion or something like crazy. It's like, dude, I'm not quite there. Like my changes aren't going to do that. But anyways, to answer the question, Good to Great's on there just because it's one of the ones that I read, and it just talks about like how to go from decent to the best, and it's like a mindset thing. Like it gives you 5 pillars of it, and it's just a recent one. If I had to give you something that I feel is more over time has been impactful for me, and it's on everybody's top 10 list, top 20 for sure, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Just because that is just about, it's only about like how should you treat people. And even though business is like we have to make money and profit and sell a good product and service, you're still dealing with people. And if you can't, like I've been complaining about, if you can't be on time, if you can't be reliable, if you can't deliver a good product, sometimes when people ask like what is your competitive advantage, sometimes I want to say is like, dude, I had good parents. Like that's my competitive advantage. Like I was raised pretty decently. Like I'm lucky, like, but obviously that's not gonna sell perfectly. But that's the reason I like How to Win Friends and Influence People, because it's just like how you want to work with people you can trust, rely on, who are nice, reciprocate, right? If I give you $100, you give me $100 worth of service. That. And then, I'll let you put 1 and 2.
Okay, so on that one is the Bucks. Yeah, so me, what was the? Oh, yeah, 2, right? So one of my top. I'll just lay out my top 3 real quick. And these are the ones that I always mention to everyone every single time, which is The One Thing by Gary Keller, Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGowan, I believe.
Oh, I have a willpower one.
And then Psycho-Cybernetics by Max Maldwell, I think.
Gladwell?
No,
Malcolm
I don't know.
Gladwell?
No, it's an old book.
Okay.
With Dan Kennedy, I think on the 2nd edition, he's on that one. But those are 3 books, and that's like one of the first. Again, like same thing. Where like back then, I think I'm probably close around the 200 mark of books. Not
Like
reading,
all time?
I read, probably in total, like I'm like
like 200 a year.
I listen to them, so I don't read them.
Oh, nice. That's probably smart.
But yeah, so to your point, it's like, well, one, like the reality is of a 150 page book, right? Like you get the preface of the book, like the first three pages, right? It's like, and then the rest of the book is just to reinforce what that one thing was. Yeah. So like The One Thing by Gary Keller, the question, the whole book is about answering the one question: what's one thing you can do right now, such by doing it, everything else becomes easier.
Yeah.
And then the whole other book is just try to reinforcing that question, like how do you figure that out? So I think back to your point is like of the 200 or however many books you read, it's like you're only looking for like a paragraph of actual like nuggets that you're like, there it is. That's what I was looking for right there.
And that's why I like having them out, like having them just around. Because when I look at the title, Good to Great, like, okay, I remember like excessive, I forgot what it was. It was like top tier leadership. Like that was one of the points. Like in order for your company to do good, the leadership in that company has to be phenomenally good. The thing I remember is like usually the leader's pretty humble and doesn't like, it's about us and not about me, things like that. So when I look at that, I'm like, oh, okay. Grinding it out, is that McDonald's? Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Anyways, yes, agree.
Yeah, so on that one, and it's like, to your point as well, it's like I read and listened to a lot more books way back when, because now, especially because like you're actually in the weeds, and it's like, back then I had a lot more time to just listen to books and like write down my own notes. But now it's like I'm a bit more selective. Like, okay, well, whatever. Like I don't want to listen to the whole book. I just need like one little piece of nugget that I need. And it's true. Like as many books as you read, like 20 books equals like 1 week of actual like talking to customers, doing something. Like there's a big discrepancy.
Wait a minute, they don't like it when I say that.
Yeah. So it's a big difference in that regard of like what you get out of reading to actually. But I would say though, like I would say a big portion of where I am today is by the books though, by reading them.
For sure.
And that's
it's definitely groundwork.
Yeah. Especially like even with the World War, like, because I definitely listen to a lot of World War II books, and even then with like, again, same thing with the movies of like the obstacles, the challenges, the leadership, the amount of problems they struggled, like internal problems, external problems,
learning through simulation. Like,
it's like
you
that.
See the problem and then you conclude a solution.
Yeah, so that has tremendously helped. And again, it's like it's one thing to consume it, but then it's like to put it in practical use. And it's like practical use is like, even if you're not like, it's just, you got to hold this, not to sound cheesy, but it's like once you consume, it's like you got to hold that standard of what you just read, right? Like it's like it's not like okay, I'm in business now, so let me do what that book says. It's like you got to apply it everywhere, like in all things that you do, like leadership skills, as far as like in World War II, like whatever I get from it, I'm like, okay, he was like this, whatever. it's like, okay, well, I don't just act like that when I'm with, such and such in person, but it's like I'm like that when I'm with, parents, or when I'm with friends, or I'm with another employee, or when I'm with clients. Like, you hold that standard kind of across the board,
Yeah.
because that's like even us that we do these like now we're doing these podcasts, but like this never turns off, right? Like what we do,
Right.
like business talking, like it's all like it's a part of our life, and it's
Yeah.
like I feel like a lot of things that if you really want them to be integrated into like your business, who you are, it's like it never turns off. It's like you're always gonna be. Like if you're ambitious with your goals, you're ambitious everywhere, right? It's not like, oh no, I'm at my apartment, so or whatever, I'm home, so I'm gonna just chill. It's like, no, you just carry it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. It's who you are. It's like you
do
carry
a
that
good
everywhere.
job with everything that you do, or you do a great job, or you do a poor job.
Oh, I thought you about to
You
pull that
know?
cord. Yeah. You hold that across the board, and I think that's like the most important thing. Like consuming books, reading books, listening to books. Like yes, but it's like if you don't live it and breathe it,
Yeah.
and if you're not that person that's like, and it's not like a forced character. It's like that's just who you are. Like that's actually cool, awesome.
So-
Check. Let's go. You know.
So to piggyback, I want to change the tattoo point. To piggyback on that, a concept I've been thinking about is you have to embody the work, or you have to embody what's in that book. Like you have to have it, like you're saying, in you, where it's like it's a part of you. It's not just on the pages or in the movie or a theory. It's something that lives inside of you. And like what I've noticed on my side of the business is that it's helped me sell a lot easier. Now that I've gone through all these obstacles with clients as far as their business, what solutions are best, what strategies work, what they don't work, I can talk to clients and I can say, hey, I've done this before. I've tried what you're asking me to try. It's not going to work. I'd rather do it the way I think it will work, or I'd rather not take on the business because we're just both going to lose money and time. And so by whatever, like it takes a while to embody the work.
Yeah.
But once it's embodied and like you live it and you are it, like it is your being, then that's when you've leveled up, I feel.
Yeah.
So reading the book itself or theorizing itself, and even going 10 reps is not fully there. But you'll know, like once you know, like I'll go to meetings now and be like, what's up? Like throw anything at me. I'm here. I'm ready. Like do it.
And that's true. And I guess I don't know where this fits, but it's like it's also piggybacking on what you're saying, because like I remember when I was like there's also like it's like a different form of it, because even when I started detailing when I was like 18, 19, and it's like I didn't, you look back and I'm like, dang, like I look so small, so like a kid. I had a little Matrix car, and it's like, and when I would arrive to customers' locations, like it wasn't like I had the confidence or I knew anything that I do now, but it's still like it's almost like the confidence and the ignorance and the bliss of like, but like you still had it. It's like a customer, like I still scared the customer. They'd be like, hey, can you, do this, do that? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can. But like I had confidence that I could do it, but I didn't have the confidence to do it. It was like the ignorance or the blissfulness of like, oh, I mean, I'll just figure it out. Like, I'm saying it goes back to like you just have it. Like you just, and again, I mean, I don't know if you can work on that or not, but it's like, to me, it's like, I don't know. It's just, you just kind of live it.
I think that's a can-do attitude, is that what they call it. Like you got to a point where it's like, okay, they're asking for something I don't know, but pretty sure I can figure it out.
Yeah, because I'm saying like if the same, you give the same person the same 200 books, you give the person the same whatever. It's like, and it's like I'm not comparing, but I'm saying like, what can I to the person's like, oh well, like how are you able to do it? It's like, dude, it's like there was no. It's not like a book that I read that's like, oh, now I'm confident. Yeah. It's like you just had this character, and then it's like you just built on top of that.
Yes.
But it wasn't like, oh, after this book, then I became a business person. Or then I had the confidence. It's like I was just ignorant that I didn't know what to do, that I did it anyways. And then after so many times, I was like, oh, yeah, I got the confidence to do that now.
It's like you're born to gamify it. You're born into a default skin, right? Default character. Mm-hmm. And as you collect things and do missions, like you level up, but not every one coin is gonna level you up. Like some people take 3 coins, some people take 10, some people don't need any, they're already like leveled up. Some people have no shot, like like
NPC, yeah.
Which is unfortunate, right? Like there's variable, not everything's fair, but
but it goes to show too, like if you're now it's a big difference when they turn off the engine, the car. No, but it goes to show like if whoever is struggling or whatever, you're like, oh, but can I do this? Can I not do it? It's like just even scratch out the word confidence. Just be blissful to the act of the thought of like, oh, am I right or wrong? Like, just go do it. It's just like that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm giving myself too much credit of like being confident. It's like it's not, at that time I didn't even think I had it. It was just like again, it's just like ignorance. Like, oh, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I was just trying to like share.
You can't put. I feel
share
like
to the audience of like, you guys sometimes look for like, oh, but what's that thing? What it's like, bro? It's just like I was just ignorant. It was like I'll go do it. Like that's it. Like I didn't have all the tools, the products, the skills. I was like, I'll just do it. Like this, like at my own fault of not knowing. It was like I'll go do it. Like it's not saying like, oh, I already had. I didn't. It was just like, bro, I was just ignorant to the fact that it might go wrong. I'll just go do it. It doesn't matter. I'll just go do it. I'll go clean this car. I don't know. I'll just go do it. Like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like you'll
it's
figure it out.
it's at such a bare minimum. Like
That's a good attitude to have.
what I'm saying is, so like to those that are like, oh, like that are scared to start their business or whatever. It's like you just go do it. You know what I'm saying?
If it goes wrong, you just go back. You know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
revert if possible. You know. Wait, I want to add one more thing to this.
That's okay. Piggyback on my piggyback off your piggyback.
No more piggybacking. It's like a side piggyback. So to the point that as I've gotten older, I read less. I also do think it's not only because like we've been mentioning. It is that, but it's also because there are so many platforms for you to consume. So what I've been doing, what I find myself doing now is like if somebody recommends a book, before I even buy the book, I'll go to YouTube. I think it was called The Millionaire Next Door. Somebody like referenced it in a video, and I was like, "Oh, I want to read that." But I was like, "Man, if I read, it's gonna take me like 8 hours. Let me go check out a summary." So I watch a 20-minute video of the summary, and you get the gist of it. It's the gist of it. And then like, okay, then if it's still interesting and I'm curious about it, okay, then I'll read it.
Yeah.
But
That's a good strategy.
But it's not strategy, yes, but also like, dude, you have podcasts, you
Oh,
have
yeah,
YouTube videos.
yeah.
Like you have all these different platforms. Like you can't consume everything.
Yeah, and
so you have to choose. And it's not like what I'm trying to say is like you don't have to read books. Like it's somewhere.
As long as you're getting education, and it's because it could be someone's like that posted an Instagram live and talking about something, or it could be a real. Oh yeah, I get it. It's like not so much reading a book, but just consuming information that's for your business.
And the problem too is like who knows who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah, and
it could be a best-selling book, and that thing is off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and that's really the scary part of like what is because
that's why it's good to get in the ring and just start fighting.
Yeah,
because then you'll know.
That's a lot of such parts. Yeah, because because then you try to see like, well, what's the right and to be honest, there's no right information. There actually there is. Yeah, like there are some people that are just like you didn't go through what you're saying you did. But for sure, like there's different styles to different businesses, to different people, to different characters. Like, it's like how I say things, someone else might disagree, and I'm not that I'm wrong, but it's like they do it differently, and that's it.
And people consume differently. Somebody can read one paragraph and be like, I get it, and somebody needs to hear,
Yeah, which side note is like with the whole detail group thing, with posting on Instagram and YouTube and email lists and podcasts and courses. It's like even with that in itself is like what I'll post on. I could say the same message and just change it up differently on every platform, and there'll still be like a bunch of people that are like, this is the first time you're hearing it, or like, well, I've never seen it that way. And it's like to what you seem as the most basic of basic information to someone else is like, whoa, you're so right, dude. I never thought about it like that, because you're catching someone at different journeys or cycles in where they are. So that's super interesting to see.
And it doesn't change, right? The messaging is going to be the same. No, for the most part.
And like the most basic of basic one here is that like I can already tell this is going to be the reel that I post on the thing. But it's like the most basic of basic things for marketing, for business, right? I've been saying the same thing for now 6+ years now of like, hey, how do you grow your business? How do you get customers? How do you make money? How do you book more customers? How do I grow customers? How do I get customers? It's like it's always the same answer. It'll never be not the same answer. It's like you got to focus on marketing. Yes, you can be the best detailer, you can be the best whatever, but if you can't generate a consistent flow of qualified leads into your business, nothing else matters. The answer was the same 6 years ago, the same answer is now, the same answer is going to be 6 years ago. And I've been saying the same thing for 6 years because on my end, there's new people coming to me every single weekday, month. That's the first I'm hearing it, right? So like I'm trying to solve their problem of like I'm trying to repeat that message for 6+ years. But it's like a lot of times with everything I say, it's like it boils down to like 4 key points, and then everything else is just like little accents here and there. But it's like I forgot what you're saying. But yeah, like the big point for most people, it's like it's
all the same message.
And it's like it's usually just a handful of things, but you just got to hear it differently. Anyway, so that's a good one and a good segue to our next question, which I know Cesar here you have some you have a hot take. So he one is as much as I talk about look at this. Yeah. Okay, so as much as I talk about marketing and how important it is, and this applies for again any any business, but I'm gonna keep it to any local business. All right. So, as much as I talk about marketing and how important it is, right? Like I just said, you need to generate a consistent flow of qualified leads into your business on a daily basis. Very important. That's still just one part of the overall process to grow your business, right? So, one is obviously starting. Two is getting people into your business, like giving you a call, an email, seeing you in person, whatever, right? It's like getting people to know who you are and contacting you for information and to book you in, right? That's still only one part or a part of the total sales cycle or customer journey, you should say, right? So, so you can generate the leads, but can you actually close them, right? So you can generate as many leads, get as many people to call you, get as many people to text you, DM you, whatever, right? But then it's your part to actually book them into your calendar, right? And not only that, but can you actually wow the customer, wow the client, right? It's one thing to generate leads. It's another thing to book them into your calendar, and then it's another thing to blow them away with your customer service, customer experience, and then it's another to retain them. So these are all different segments of running a business. So to you, Cesar, I may ask, is actually, do you just want to piggyback off of that one? Like, do you want to actually, I'll ask you this? Yeah. So where do most of your clients struggle with in this journey that I just said? In the is it generating leads? Is it retaining? Is it closing? Is it in which part are your clients? Because remember, Cesar runs an agency, so he has all walks of industries in his portfolio of, either it's lead generation for generators, whether it's barbers, whether it's roofers, whether it's insurance agents, whether it's whatever. He has a lot of walks of life or walks of industries, as I just said. So where do they struggle?
So first, to answer who's not struggling, some people don't struggle, which means they have most of it up and running and have it right? So like, we're not talking about them, because the businesses that are struggling, and when we say struggling, like, there's different kinds of struggles. Sometimes they want to keep growing and they can't. Sometimes they're really struggling, like they can't pay the bills. So there's a range here. So not including obviously the ones that do right, because some people do great and they got their stuff down. I got a list here, okay? Yeah. And I've never really like thought about like, okay, well, what is it? If I had to like boil it down to some core points, and not in any order, but I'm gonna go through them. So, what is it? Why are they struggling? So, one of the quickest ones that I can think of when I have marketing meetings for businesses that want clients is that they don't understand their customer. Like, they don't know where to find them. They don't know what they're looking for online. They don't know who their demographic is. They don't know what areas to target. They just know that they want more. All they know is, I need more customers so I can make more money. And that's like the same thing of saying, like, I want a new job because I want to make more money. Like, duh, everybody wants to make more money. Yes, you want to increase your salary, but like, where do you want to work? What do you want to do? Who do you want to help? How do you want to help them? What setting do you want to work in? And like, whenever people don't know who their customers are, they end up being like sideways. Like, they're everywhere. They're trying to help everyone. They're doing like 80 different services when they really should just be doing 2. They don't know. They're kind of lost, but they have an idea of what they want to be. I don't know if you want to add to that, not knowing your customer.
No, did you have more to say?
I have like 80.
On that same question?
On that same question.
You add a bit more.
Okay. Not understanding that nobody wants to give you money. Like, nobody wants to take money from their pocket that they earned their own way, right? Probably, it's hard work to get money. Nobody wants to take their money and just give it to you. Even if you're solving their problem, even if you're the only one around, even if they need you, like, nobody wants to give it to you. So you have to give them reasons why they should give it to you, not in a convincing way, but in a way where you're assuring them and making them certain about their buy, right? So they got a car dirty. They're like, dude, really? Like, I don't want to pay $240 to get my car clean. And then you give them reasons. Look, this is the good jobs we've done. These are all our testimonials. Once you're done, you're not going to have to clean it for 2 years. Whatever the pitch is, you have to be able, kind of to the cycle part, like, you have to be able to give them reasons to give you money. And the more you do that, which goes to not understanding brand, is like, if you understand that part and you understand brand and you build your brand, that means when people see the name Symphony Advertising, they're going to know those dudes help do lead generation, and they do it good. And then the selling becomes easier. You don't have to do anything because you've built the brand to say, oh, okay, they know what they're doing. I'm gonna call them just because I know these dental practices use them. I know that these roofing people use them. I've seen the websites they do a great job. So like a lot of our websites now are coming in. I'm not saying we're anywhere near this. I'm saying it's getting better. It's a tall task. I'm saying like people will just call now and be like, hey, I was referred. They say you do good work. What do I like? How do we get started? Like I didn't do anything. It's like you're constantly building the brand, which is another thing you can add. Is like people don't understand what brand means is reputation. Like screw like personal brand and like business brand. Like all it means is reputation. And if you have a bad reputation, if I say, hey, you know what, or somebody will ask, say, hey, go use this AC guy, and I'm like, dude, he's did a bad job. He shows up late. He actually like he's come 3 times and it still sucks. Like I like the guy, but honestly, like I don't think it's the best place to go. Like you're screwed.
Yeah.
So that's like a big one. We're like, dude, you don't, do a good job. And I think that kind of sums it up. Should I keep going?
I'll piggyback off of what you just said of like of going back to like when people refer you and they're just like, yeah, I'll just go with you because I was referred. That's also a big part of. I mean, definitely to I think you're saying the reputation part, but that also happens a lot in our business of when someone calls and a lot of people watching these listening to this episode or watching it. Sometimes you're kind of sticker shocked at like at the prices that we charge, right? Because in whatever you're doing in your business, you're just not charging as much. You hear us say like, it's $400 for an interior or $300 for an interior, and a lot of you are like, whoa, like $300? How are you doing that? And a big part of that, it's like kind of going off of everything that you were saying too, of like one, like we're generating the leads, right? So we have that down pat. Like, yeah, people are coming to us on a daily basis saying, hey, what's up? Like I need my car cleaned, whatever. What can you guys offer? It's two, we understand our customers. We know exactly who we're targeting. We understand their lingo. We understand what their goals are. And when we're talking to them, we're trying to understand more of, hey, what do you want? What do you need? How can we help you? Obviously we talk much differently with the customer, but you get the point of like, we got the lead generation down. We understand our customers. And then also after a certain point, when you build your brand, when you have your website, when you have whatever, like everything up and running, and it's it's all cohesive. Then the price isn't as big of a deal anymore because it's like they already know what to expect from you. Like if on your website, on your reviews, on your Instagram, on your wherever, it's like, oh, this brand, this whoever, detailer or not, it's like, oh, they're premium. They're good photos, good work, good whatever. Good captions, good website, good whatever. It's like, okay, I expect more from this provider because just everything is a bit more elevated than the other ones that I've seen. And that all like, and again, it's like, it's not just like, oh, well once I run ads on Facebook, I should get more customers, right? It's like, that's still just one part of everything, right? It's like making sure all the little dots connect together so that in total, that's what pushes your business forward. It's never almost one thing, right? Like generating leads to not generating leads, that's a big difference. But it's like it's still just one part of the entire production line of continuing to run that business. Do you want to add anything else? Or you want to continue on to the next one?
I kind of want to hammer down on what you said.
Okay, which part?
On like why you charge, like the sticker shock part. Like I feel like there's like when you started, did you start lower? Like
much lower. Yeah.
Okay, and then as you grow, you. Like, same thing. Like, my first website was $200, easily worth $3,000, easily. But what I see is like, if there's sticker shock, I don't know why I'm elaborating this, but I feel like I need to elaborate it. All right, so when you start, you charge, to keep it simple, $20, right? So people who value their service or product are willing to pay $20, right? But if you want to increase your quality of your product or service, the price goes up, right? And the person who wanted to buy it for $20 is no longer your customer. They were what you could get, or when you work for free. Like obviously, those are different people. And as you raise the quality of your product or service, you're gonna raise the quality of your customer.
Right.
So because you don't want to work with people who don't care about your product or service. Obviously, you want to work if you care about your business, right? Like obviously, if you just want to sell.
Whatever.
Super affordable stuff. Like that's also a strategy. But like in this case, it's like I want to build or fictitiously, like this theoretical person, I would like to build my business or product up to a level that it's quality. It's like it's worth something. It's not cheap because it's worth something. And there's the value of this product or service is less is more than what the client or person buys it at. So if this is worth $1,000, if they buy it for $1,000, it's actually worth like 5,000. If they pay $240 for a detail, then it's actually worth 600. And what I think is so cool about like when people are like, oh well, this person charges less. It's like, okay, obviously number one, go with the less cost person, but there has to be a difference in the service. Like there has to be, because then it doesn't make sense. And I feel like once people raise their prices, like the person given the product or service, then they're out of that. They're no longer a person of that. They're just there for now. Hopefully, or whatever the strategy is. But like, I always find that really interesting. Like, doesn't everybody want to become that? Like, if you care about, right? Like, you're not gonna detail your car if you don't care about cars. Like, I don't detail my car. I don't care. But if I was a person that did, I would want a good product or whatever. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, what do you think?
What? Yeah.
I'm saying I got like 5 more. We could just keep going.
That makes sense too. Yeah, where it's like, like what if when you first get started, you're at level 1, and that matches to the service, and there's no timeline between when, like, let's say level 1 is low price, whatever, and then level 10 is high price, meaning where a lot of people want to go. And the thing I always like to point out is like there's no timeline on when you make that jump between 0 to 10, right? Like if to me it took a long time because I didn't know anything, whatever, right? But there's no reason why in 6 months you can't go from 0 to level 9 if you have a lot of things set in place. So it's not like, oh, well, I just started yesterday, like I guess it's going to take me like 3 years. It's like it could take you 3 months. There's no set parameter on like how long it's supposed to take you. It's like, again, based on everything we just said about your lead generation, your customer experience, your sales, your product, your service, your understanding of the customer, like all
your
that
own experience. Like if the person you're saying raised their prices and they worked at a detail shop for 10 years, like they can probably charge the same price because they know. But if you're just starting off, like you still need that experience. Well, it's probably going to take a lot longer. But yes, like it does. There is no timeline. You could be a superstar. Like, I mean, there's 12-year-olds that are killing it. It's like, okay, like how does that make sense? So it's a variable. It changes.
Okay, so did you want to add something? I have another question.
That's probably it. That was probably the most part of it.
Next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one here is okay, so this I might skip over that. Do you see there's a lot of clients stuck in? Oh no, I don't want to try that. Okay. Okay, so how about this one? Okay, this will be the last thing that we wrap on. So, all right. So we've touched on the past, Cesar. But I want to get a more clear example on this for the listeners here. Again, this is for any local business, not just detailers. Any local business, pool installer, HVAC, landscaping, barbers, whoever. If you're a local based business, this is for you. So, what's one of the biggest factors on why a client doesn't see results in their marketing? So let's say for you, they're running ads, and just to kind of give you some context. So is it like, hey, right now we're making 5,000 a month, and we want to get to 9,000 a month, and you're running ads for them, and they're like, hey man, like the ads are running, we're getting, let's just say that they're 5,000, they want to get 8,000, whatever. You're running ads, but what's one of their biggest? Just open in the question then. What's one of the biggest reasons why they don't see results in their marketing? And you can go down whatever road, because there's many roads you can travel with this question.
So yes, there is. If I had to generalize an answer for that, most of the time the answer is going to be time, because it depends on budget, it depends on your offerings, it depends on your industry, it depends on your market, it depends on a lot of things. But I wouldn't say what was the question?
What's the biggest reason why?
Struggle?
Yeah, what they struggle when they're with their marketing? What's one of the biggest factors on why a client doesn't see results in their marketing?
I think it's timing, actually. I don't think the person. So somebody will come and say, "Hey, I want to scale from 5,000 to 20,000," and I don't think that their business or that person specifically and their team is in a level to have that already. Because once you have, so what I've seen with successful clients, what I have seen is like they have it down, whatever that it is, they have it down. And at that point, it's just increasing ad spend. It's just adding more marketing channels, because everything else is firing on full cylinders. So like I guess a metaphor would be like, imagine you have a car that's working, it's fast car, and it's just missing the fuel. You put the fuel, you turn on the car, and you freaking go.
Yeah.
But let's say it's a car that's missing 2 tires, doors not on it, and the electrical isn't done yet. You can put as much fuel as you want. The thing's going nowhere. So to answer this question very broadly and generally, I would say is like the business itself or the person or the leadership is not at that level. Because sometimes all that means is like the expectation is unrealistic at that time for a time frame. Okay, so like if somebody says I want to get 50 phone calls a day, it's like there's no math to do that. Like there's no, like I don't know how like that's unreasonable. And so it's almost like saying patience. Like yes, we can get there, but we can't do it today, and we can't do it this month unless everything's firing on all cylinders. But usually when those happen, like they're already doing good.
Yeah,
like they're already like getting all kind, like they come with us saying like, hey, just help us.
Yeah, so one you could be saying like if they want to run Google ads or Facebook ads, and they're like, hey,
they're
like
probably running them already.
Yeah, and it's like we want to get to, it's a new client. It's like we want to get to whatever 10,000 a month, and they start with, okay, let's say they come to you and they're like, we want to get to 10,000. We're currently at 4,000 a month. We have an ad spend budget of $500. Can you make it work?
Oh my God, no.
Okay, and then if
it's just does the math doesn't work at all. Like even if every single click turned into a customer, like it doesn't work. Like it's just, I mean,
yeah, and again, that's why I said like this can go down any path because there's so many reasons why a business might not be hitting their target goals. Like for instance, like again, I think we've already spoken about this, but it's also like getting the lead is the first step into running the business, right? Because you have to talk to them, communicate them, convey the value between your services and what they want, book them into the calendar, make sure you're on time, make sure that if you're gonna be late, you let them know, making sure that the service itself is phenomenal and great, making sure there's a happy afterwards, and it's like that whole cycle is what makes a business. It's never just like one thing, right? On why that doesn't why it's not working out.
There are so many parts to the business that like usually it's not like a marketing problem. It is part of the problem. But there's just so much more that like if somebody came to me and said like this is the exact area and they just knew everything about their customers, everything that like one of the biggest problems I have right now with some clients, like the bigger clients, is that they just don't know what their customers are looking for. So Google Ads is perfect if somebody's looking for an auto detailer and they look up auto detailer to me and an ad pops up, like that all makes sense. That's how it should work. But imagine a business that they don't know what their customers are looking for. And so like it's very broad, it's very bland, and it's like, should we keep this keyword? Like does this keyword bring in new customers? And they're like, maybe, it's like, well, what are we supposed to do? I can't optimize. Maybe I don't know. Like, is this a good keyword or not? And so that's one vertical of like, well, how do we figure this out? And I can't figure that for them. Like they have to figure out their customer and say like, well, what are my customers looking for? And it's like in this municipal type industry to give you like an idea.
And a lot of that too is like understanding your customer. That also comes down with like you might have a preconceived notion of who your customer is, but until you actually start getting customers, talking to them,
oh my God,
experiencing it, you're like, oh, I thought I had Bob Wallace over here that was 47 and has a Corvette, but I have Billie Jean over here that has a sports car that is 25. You know,
so. And that actually is a common one. So I'll get customers that'll say, "Hey, I want the rich people of this area. I want to get people who have money to come to my business." And then it's like you're in a low income place, and they're like, "Well, I know I'm in a low income place, but I want to reach the people with money, like with a lot of money." And it's like, no one's gonna. They're not gonna come here.
Yeah,
your customer, because you're here, is low income, and they'll have like products and services that are high income, but it's like that strategy is not going to work. Like not that it won't work, but like it's not going to work here. Not Google Ads wise. Like they're gonna click where it is. They're gonna see the area and be like, I'm not gonna go down there. And that's exactly what happens. And so I think it's funny because they're like, I want people with money, and it's like, whoa, this is not a people with money area or service. Like I can't. I just do the marketing. Like I can't. I'm not in their brain saying like you should come.
And just probably the last thing I'll piggyback off that is that like
the piggyback episode.
You could follow that up with almost anything, right? Like because I hear it all the time. We're like, hey, I want to hire an employee, but like, they don't work hard, or like, hey, I hired 2 people and they only stayed here for 3 months. It's like, do you run a business that someone would want to stay there for more than 3 months?
Damn.
Do you have a business that someone would want to stay there more than 2 years? Do you have a business that someone that would actually want to spend $800 on a service, right? It's like, you want all these things, but are you that business, that provider, that brand that elicits that type of response from? And again, like across the board, right? It's like, oh, why can't I get, like I said, like high paying customers? It's like, bro, I wouldn't bring my car to you, bro. Like your website, your Instagram, the way you talk, the way you pick up the phone, the way you call, you don't call back. It's like, why would someone want? And at that point, when you have someone like a client like that, and they're like, I want to make this much more. It's like, bro, I'm fighting an uphill battle. Like on your side of like, again, like at that point, it's not a marketing problem, right? Because you can run, $1,500 a month in ads to one thing.
They'll give it to us.
But it's like, again, going back to there's so many other things where the marketing in itself, although it's going to help to a degree, it doesn't fix all the other things that are not going. And at that point, it's like, man, like you got to like back to like the leadership, the people, the coach, like it's not the marketing at that point. It's like, it's so many other things and it's like, you're putting, not even putting a Band-Aid, but it's like, here's a cup. Now make sure, go get the water, go get the straw, go get the whatever. Cause like, that's still just one little equation. It's everything. Any last points before we close out?
Yeah, so no, that's it.
Okay, cool. Okay, this is now officially our longest episode, somewhere around 30, 40, 50, almost an hour. So that's my longest one yet. Yeah, so okay, I'll go ahead and end it right here. Again, Cesar with Symphony Advertising. We'll actually link yours. I haven't been linking your stuff. I just realized that. We'll link your whatever. Anyway, just check the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, check the description box down below. Thank you very much, and we'll have you here on another episode shortly. Okay,
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.